If I have a significant other and I say I'm going somewhere and I ask their opinion, if you tell me I cannot go, I'm just telling you because me, I've already bought my ticket, I'm going. What do you do? What's up? Welcome to my corner of the internet. Hope you're doing good today. My name is Funta if this is your first time stopping by. And on this channel, I talk about a lot of things. Specifically, I talk about money and mindset and wellness and self-care and travel and just lifestyle stuff in general. Today's video, actually, I will be introducing a new series, I would call it, or a segment on my YouTube channel, and it would be called Talktails. And on this series, we're going to talk and have a cocktail or a mocktail, depending on how I'm feeling that day. The purpose basically is I'm, newly into drinks and stuff. I'm always into something. I already told you I'm very dynamic. I hope you guys understand my sense of humor, but I'm very dynamic. So now I'm into cocktails, but I feel like it's something that I really like and I want to incorporate into my life. And I kind of like to talk. I have a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts that go through my head every second, every millisecond of every day actually. And I just thought to combine both. And that's how we have Talktails. So Talktails, what are we going to be talking about? Like I said, the different things that go on in my head. It could be a very deep, serious conversation. It could be a scholarly article. I used to love doing research papers in school, especially on sociological topics. I love the process of just reading a bunch of things and breaking it down and coming to your own conclusions. And I kind of want to go back into doing that, but I thought it would be really cool to be able to do that and then talk about it after I do that. So who knows, I'll write a paper and I'll share it with you. So that's an example of something else that I'll share on here. It could be something really just random. I might see somebody, I might hear something, I might see a concept and I'm like, I want to talk about that, and I'll come here and talk about that. It could be just jokes, it could be a rant, it could be something I'm annoyed about. It literally could be anything. Basically, you don't know what you're gonna get on any given episode of this segment of my show. So without further ado, let's get into the very first episode of Talktails. So I'll start with the drink. Today's drink is going to be hibiscus tea with lemon and ginger. By the way, if you are Nigerian, it's zobo, but let's make it sound a little bougie, you get me? So we're gonna call it a pineapple ginger hibiscus tea. It's obviously can be drank as a tea, but I do have ice in it. It would be perfect with mint on the top. But this is a very refreshing drink. So, cheers. While we get into the topic of the day, which, as you can tell from the title, is for my girlies. I love talking to girls. I love women. I love young girls. I love being a woman. And so any topic that involves women, I'm there, I'm in the front. Today's topic is going to be more of an opinion / a little bit of a rant. And the reason why I want to emphasize that is because emotions might get heightened in this video. When I start, I told you from the beginning, you kind of knew, okay? Don't say you didn't see it coming. You kind of saw it coming. Well, what I want to talk about today is this growing trend of women telling younger women or other women that in order for them to be women and to be soft and be feminine, they don't need to work, or that they need to rely on somebody else to provide for them.
Be nice. I'm finding it.
Since when did being a responsible adult become masculinity? Since when did taking care of yourself, being responsible for yourself, survival, independence, discipline, ambition, since when did all those things become gendered and masculine? We're literally romanticizing dependency for grown adults. And not only is it an annoying thing, an annoying lie, it's also very dangerous. And I think it's the second part that makes me kind of want to talk about this. It's how dangerous actually leading that type of life can be for women. Before I keep going, I want to start with the women who actually come on here and preach those kind of things. If you're in the category of women who come on here and you teach with other women, and especially young women, that they don't need to work in order for them to be feminine, you are a dirty, stinking liar. Because what you're doing is you're lying to young, impressionable women, and you are quite literally leading them astray. You come on here, you clock in and day out. Anybody that does social media or anything content, you know that it is work. All of that work you're doing, and you're coming here to tell women that they don't need to work. Why are you working then? And the reason why I call you a liar, and I say that from the bottom of my heart, is because you know that you're trying to make a living at the expense of young, impressionable women. These are women who are probably just looking for people to look up to. So they see you online, you look put together, you look confident, and they're probably thinking, oh, okay, you know, like this is somebody I can listen to. This is somebody I want to be like when I grow up or something. And then you just lie to them. And even worse, not only do you tell them that they don't need to work, you tell them and you preach to them that what they need to do is find a man that's going to provide for them. Historically and statistically speaking, in this world that we live in every corner of the world that we live in, how many women who have been completely financially dependent on men, how does that usually work out? And I know you know that. You know that. Like I said, God will deal with you. So back to what I was saying. This whole idea of like you don't have to work, you're packaging dependence as luxury. You're packaging, you know, I don't even know if it's laziness, as soft life, as easy life. You're packaging it as freedom. And especially when you kind of put it in the box of, you know, masculinity, you're in your masculine energy. Now you're making it seem like it's a masculine trait to be responsible. You're an adult. You take care of yourself, you take care of your bills, you take care of your home, you take care of your family. That's what an adult does. Those are adult traits. Those are not masculine traits. And when it comes to even this idea of masculinity and femininity, I do feel like, yes, men and women are obviously different. We have different strengths and different weaknesses. And also traditionally and socially, we have different roles per se that we play in our families, in society. But there are certain things that in a way have no business being gendered. For example, if a man's taking care of his child, maybe bathing for his child, feeding his child, all of that stuff, are you gonna say it's in his feminine energy? Even though that's traditionally what a woman would do in a family, you're not going to say a man is in his feminine energy because he's taking care of his child. He's just taking care of his family. He's being a responsible adult, taking care of his kid and taking care of his family. If a man takes care of his home, is he in his feminine energy? Or is he just being a responsible adult? So why is it that when a woman is, you know, again, being an adult, all of a sudden you want to tag her as masculine, and then you kind of do that as an insult? You know, there was a time, I don't know about you guys, but there are times that it's funny, men would tell me that I act like a man, and I know they say it as to be an insult. Personally, I don't really care. If you like, call me a man, that's your bloody business. Because all the times that I've been called a man, or all the times that I've been told that I act like a man, it's either I'm standing very firm in something that I believe in, or I'm standing up for myself, or I'm being assertive. And it's like, I'm an adult. Who else is going to stand up for me if I don't stand up for myself? And then you say that to insult me. Mind you, when you do the same thing as a man, it's okay. But when I stand up for myself, it's a problem. I think there's just this idea that as a woman, you're just supposed to be very docile, very dainty, like you don't know how to do anything. Or so some people will even be like, oh, around my man, I shut my brain off. Girl, you better open that thing right back up. Like, open it up. So yeah, like I was saying, the idea that you're only supposed to act a certain way or do a certain thing, whatever, to be feminine is just a lie. There is no one way to be a woman. So don't let anybody box you and tell you have to talk a certain way, you have to act a certain way, and especially not that you have to you don't have to work or take care of yourself and that you have to depend on another human being to take care of you. Because like I said, you're an adult. Adulthood is not easy. It requires showing up, it requires working hard, it requires taking care of yourself, it requires building a stable life for yourself, it requires taking care of your loved ones, being responsible for people who are dependent on you, it requires discipline, it requires a level of ambition, and having to do all of those things, again, I'm gonna repeat this until I sound like a broken record, having to do all of those things doesn't make you masculine, it makes you an adult. You're an adult, you're a grown woman. You should be able to take care of yourself. Before we get to how dangerous it is to even have to depend on another human being, even just as an adult, there's dignity in being able to take care of yourself. Not every time you need something, you have to beg somebody for it. Some of you, before you buy a wig, you have to beg a man to buy a wig for you. And the mental gymnastics you have to do to get that man to buy that thing, you literally have to beg another person to take care of you. You have to live your life at the benevolence of another person. I have heard stories of women who have to ask their husbands for grocery money. Grocery, as in food to eat. They have to ask their husbands for it. They don't have anything. Because they've put their financial well-being and survival in the hands of somebody else. The only people who, as a society, were responsible to take care of fully like that are children, invalids, sick people, and old people who are sick because they're not capable of doing it themselves. You do not fall into that category, my dear. You're a big girl. You gotta do big girl things. Okay? But this next point is where it really stings for me because, and it's also the reason why I think this whole idea is a very dangerous narrative. When you leave your well-being and your survival in the hands of another person, when you're financially dependent on somebody else, it's very dangerous because whoever feeds you has control over your life. If you're feeding yourself, you have control over your life. If somebody else is feeding you, they have control over your life. And the reason why financial independence is such a big thing is because in this life, money is power. It might not be something we like to say or we like to admit, but money is power. Any relationship dynamic where one party is financially dependent on the other, there's automatically a power imbalance. Think about employees and their employers. Think about even parents and children. That's why a lot of times when parents want to get their children to do things, they withdraw money. Oh, I'm not going to pay for your school fees. I'm not going to pay for this. I'm not going to buy you that thing that you want. It's always money. Because money is power. It's the reason why financial abuse usually occurs when one party has more money than the other, makes more money than the other, or is in more control of the finances than the other, right? Don't let anybody lie to you. Having your own money is what true freedom and softness is like. When you have your own money, you have complete freedom over your life. You can choose, you can decide how you want to do things, when you want to do things. If you're trying to figure out where you want to live, it's the person that's paying for it that's gonna be the main decider of where you're gonna live. How you raise your children, are you the one paying for it? Please, then don't talk too much. When you're reliant on somebody taking care of you, you're living at the benevolence of that person. You just want something nice for yourself. You don't have the money, you have to go and ask a big girl like you. You want to buy makeup, you have to go and ask somebody to give you money for makeup. Now come on. When you're dependent on someone, when somebody is taking care of you, it's not soft. You're making yourself vulnerable. You're making yourself vulnerable to the person's moods. They can change their mind on anything. They decide everything, even when they're nice. If you've ever been in a situation with people in a situation where the other party is responsible for you financially, you know you have to play nice. Even when you're dealing with somebody who's nice, parents and children. I remember when we were younger, when you want to ask your parents for something, you already know you have to butter them up a little bit, you know, you have to make them feel good, you have to do all your chores and do them in the way that they like it. Otherwise, don't even come close to me. It's the same thing. It doesn't stop when we're kids. And to me, there is no softness in not being able to decide over your own life as an adult. If there is no freedom, there is no softness. Being financially independent, being able to take care of yourself, that's when you can actually truly be soft, because you can relax. You have peace. You can decide, okay, I want to go to work today. I don't want to go to work today. I want to work here. I don't want to work here. I want to get this. I don't want to get this. The trip I want to go on, I want to stay at this hotel, not this hotel. I want to do this activity. I don't want to do this activity. Nobody has to tell you yes or no. You can ask their opinion, but if they say yes or no, okay. If I have a significant other and I say I'm going somewhere and I ask their opinion, if you tell me I cannot go, I'm just telling you, because me, I've already bought my ticket, I'm going. I'm just telling you. And so the danger of this whole thing is, you know, because you don't aspire to anything. Even like, I'm not even saying aspire to grand things. Just aspire to being able to take care of yourself. Aspire to be able to do nice things for yourself. To not have to beg. You're begging. You're a beggar. If you're waiting for that man to give you money before you can do anything, you're a beggar. And when you are having this kind of mindset, that's basically your survival plan. And like I mentioned before, statistically and historically speaking, when you're fully dependent on somebody else financially to survive, it usually doesn't end well. It usually doesn't. And then when you realize, and I think this is my theory, I think one of the reasons why people get stuck in those kind of situations is because now it's kind of too late. You've been in a marriage for 10 years, you haven't worked. You don't have any, you know, skill to make money. And you're experiencing some type of abuse. But you can't just get up and leave because you don't have any skill to do anything. Or at least not anything that will make you money out there. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And there's something I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention. Sometimes I'll see some videos about, oh, like, why did feminists have to go and fight for women to be able to work? I just want to be at home and be a stay-at-home wife, blah, 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 all that stuff. As if stay-at-home mothers are not working. They're literally working around the clock. What are you talking about? Okay, let's list the things that stay-at-home moms do. They cook, they clean, they take care of the children, they manage the, you know, like appointments, things like that, everything about the family, stuff like that. I've only mentioned 4. There's a lot of other things, but let's stop here. If you want to get a chef that's gonna not only cook for you, but go out, do your groceries, blah, 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 all that stuff, how much are you gonna pay them a month or a year? Then cleaning. How much does it cost you for even a relatively affordable cleaning service? How much is that going to cost you? Then taking care of children. How much work is that? Then just managing the home, managing the admin stuff in the home. I've already mentioned 4 things. And you have to do that day in and day out, not just for yourself, but for the man and then however many children you have. So for at least 3 people. You have to do that day in and day out. And you're telling me that's not work? People are literally getting paid to do that. That's a whole job. Those are all each industries of their own. So even if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, you're still gonna work. You're still gonna work. So let's just wrap this up real quick. I'm not saying we have to completely reject the idea of femininity or masculinity. Those things are probably useful in one way or the other, even though I personally hate those terms. Not because they're inherently bad, but because of what they've been turned into. But I don't think we need to completely get rid of them. I think we maybe just kind of need to redefine or have a different understanding of those terms, especially for women. Actually, not especially for men, for both men and women, but right now we're talking about femininity. You can be feminine and be hardworking. You can be feminine and be disciplined. You can be feminine and be ambitious. You can be feminine and be a go-getter. You can be feminine and still work towards having financial stability in your life. There is nothing anti-feminine or unfeminine about being able to take care of yourself, about being responsible for yourself. You're a woman. You're still a woman. You're always going to be a woman. Look at me as a perfect example. If you see me outside, will you not think I'm a woman? Exactly. And I'm a pretty stereotypically feminine woman. That has never stopped me from trying to want to take care of myself. And in fact, me being ambitious about wanting to take care of myself is what has allowed me to live a soft, easy life. I'm not completely there yet, but I have the choice. I have the freedom of choice to make my life easier. I have the freedom of choice to choose comfort. Because I work hard, I can choose to do things that make my life more comfortable. I just want to encourage you, please make sure you always stand up for yourself. You always advocate for yourself. You always ensure that you're pursuing personal stability for yourself and for your life. Make sure that you can always take care of yourself and your loved ones, the people that you care about. It is actually very, very crucial that you are able to take care of yourself and that you don't leave your survival at the hands or the benevolence of another person. It's very dangerous. Build your own life, create your own stability, create your own softness, create your own luxury. When your life is soft, let it not be soft from a place of vulnerability. Let it be soft from a place of power and from a place of freedom and from a place of full autonomy and control over your life. Oh, and also I want to mention, being taken care of is not a bad thing. Let me just tell you right now, it's nice to have somebody take care of you, but that should be a bonus and not your survival plan. All right? Okay, I think I've yapped enough for today, so we're gonna have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching. If you've watched up to this point, please subscribe, like the video, comment. I actually want to know what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with. I actually am very open to people who have different opinions from me, so share that with me in the comments. As long as you're not rude. If you're rude, I'll block you. But thank you very much for watching, and till my next video, stay blessed, take care, bye.